Hi everybody, I'm here with Lauren Ruth Ward. We're about to do a pajamas segment, so let's get into it. So you were born in Baltimore. Can you tell me what were some of the hangout spots that you went to when you were younger?
When I was younger, well, I lived there when I was from 1 to 6, and then we moved. But my mom, when I was really little, wherever my mom took me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom raised my sister and I, so we were just she took us to the baseball games at Camden Yards. Mm-hmm. She had a bunch of friends that lived all over, so we would go visit them. But I didn't really go and hang places when I was
6.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
And then I went back when I was in my early teens, mid-teens, and I used to go to this place called Sonar. It does not exist anymore.
What is that?
It's a venue club. I used to see shows there, and then on Fridays, I think one of the reasons why I closed down is because of it was like an 18 and up. It's called an indie techno dance party. It was called Taxlow, and. Yeah, that was the highlight of my Friday, and they didn't card, which is I think why they closed down. But yeah, I was 16 and had a really bad fake ID. But
did you ever get caught with it?
I did not get caught with it, but I lent it to a friend who lent it to one of her friends. That I was don't lend it to her because she's sketchy, and I was right, and she got it taken away, which sucked. But I'm a little sentimental. At the time that she lost it, I was already 21, but that ID brought me so much joy, and so I wanted to
from everything you did.
Yeah,
with it. Yeah.
And I wanted to frame it and just be there she is. Her name was Christmas.
What?
She the girl who gave me the ID.
Her name was Christmas?
Yeah. I won't say her full name because she's actually she's turned out to be a social media famous. I won't say what she does either. Yeah, but she's really cool.
You can assume.
Yeah. Yeah, she's cool.
What was your household like? What do you remember? What your room looked like when you were still living in Baltimore? Or?
I just always had posters up. So I always had I would have a wall dedicated to an artist. So I'd have a Britney wall, Christina wall, an NSYNC wall, and a Justin wall. Then everybody else would be on the ceiling. It's my mom was pretty cool. She let me paint my bedrooms, and one time I did hot pink with black trim, and then the inside of my closet would be black, and the shelves would be pink.
Was that middle school or something, or high school?
This is steadily probably from 10 to when I moved out at 19. That's what I would do. We lived in 19 different houses.
Oh my god.
So we moved around a lot.
19?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I also read that you described your mom as bohemian. What was it being raised by her and having a single parent?
My mom is super loving, and that's that's her strength. And she's just very supportive, and which was really great for me to be able to just want to express myself, because I was always wanting to color my hair, express myself in my room, and in any way. Yeah, I wanted a guitar. I was 10. She bought it for me. It was just I never had to argue or fight to be I really want to go to hair school. She was always supportive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, she's just more of the love and support, and the I guess versus being more of the book smart. She wasn't very disciplinary. She kind of just had let me flow, which was nice and helpful.
Was she like that with your sister too?
Yeah. But my sister is definitely more rebellious, just naturally. My sister's more of a rule follower, which is just just happens. You just who you are. I think I think my nature kicked my nurture's ass. Yeah. So you'd kind of look back and be my sister was an easy kid, just coincidentally, because that's what she wanted to come home and do her homework, whereas I was I am gonna be on my bike until my mom comes out screaming, "Where am I?"
Oh my God, just naturally.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's kind of like a foreshadowing to who you become as an adult.
Yeah. So on the flip side of your mom, like, you don't really talk too much about your dad, or from what I've noticed.
My dad's awesome. I talk
Really?
about my dad often.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I talk about my dad.
Right.
My dad, my stepmom, and my mom are my parents. My dad and my stepmom got married when I was like a month away from being 3. And they're awesome. I didn't really see my dad much growing up because it was every other weekend, which is like, you know, so many millennials who have baby boomer parents. That's like that's just kind of like how it is, which sucks because you don't really get to know your parent. But when I moved out when I was 19, I started making the effort to hang out with my dad more, and that was 10 years ago. And yeah, my he's hilarious. He's very talkative. He'll make friends with strangers. He knows a little about a lot. He's always got something to contribute to conversations. And he is really good with music history. And so I got a lot of my musical influences from all my parents. But like my dad would be the one that would be like, he'd be, you know, driving and be like, okay, what album is this off of?
Oh,
and what
wow.
year? And I'd be like,
tested you?
yeah, and but my sister and I liked it. Like it was fun.
It was like a game or something?
Yeah, like tricks, like Houses of the Holy would come on, and he'd be like, what Zeppelin album is this off of? And he'd be like, oh goodness, Physical Graffiti, right? It's not on Houses of the Holy, it's on Physical Graffiti.
I don't think any of
But I'd be like, yeah, and then guess the year, and be like, and get it, you know, it'd be fun.
Got it. So you guys are like still close today?
Yeah, I am very lucky to have the support from all three parents.
Yeah.
And my sister too. She's so supportive.
Yeah, like I hear that like you have a really close relationship with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like she has a niece now? Or you have a niece now?
Yeah, I
She has
have a niece and a nephew.
Yeah. What's it like being an aunt?
It's so awesome. It sucks being in California. They're in Maryland. They're just so stinking cute. And my sister's just such a super mom and just a superhuman in general. I've always felt that way about her. She's always been a really good egg and very like naturally nurturing. I remember because she's my big sister. You know, I remember how mothering and like just a natural lover she is, just like my mom.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder if she got it from.
Oh yeah, we both got it from my mom. We both like are touchers, and you know.
Is that like part of your love language, like physical touch? And
it is, but actually mine is communication. Like if like I'm like feeling misunderstood, like you can hold up my walls just by saying, I understand what you're saying. Like that just and like so many people be like, well, of course I understand. I'm like, well, say it, you know. It's like so many people don't do that. I like to communicate that to like my partner and my friends and stuff. And I'm just like, you can totally disagree. I think it's like, I expect for like, you know, when you're in an argument, for the end result to still disagree but still respect each other and be like,
that's what it should be.
Totally,
Ideally,
It's like just respect.
Yeah,
totally.
Going back, and could you tell me about like high school then? Like, what were your friends like then?
I was friends with a lot of people. I was friends with like people who did drama. I did cheerleading for a couple years. I was friends with people who skateboarded, like lots of different cliques. And yeah, it was pretty all over the place. I was like, you know, for game day I had like cornrows and Chuck Taylors and was just like, you know, and then like singing with my friends who were like doing like the coffee houses and stuff, but then, you know, always contradicting my friend groups. Kind of like, you hang out with that person? And I'm like, yeah, bye. And they'd be like, you hang out with this person? I'm like, bye.
Got it.
Yeah, I went to 2 different high schools, and the second high school I went to was like way less cliquey and kind of a bit more like free-flowing, just the energy there. And that was like a better experience for me because no one likes being pressured. I just didn't like, I had like an issue with some like pressuring years of like, you know, don't hang out with this person, that person. It's so nice being a grown up and people like don't have the time to care about who you hang out with or like who you're. It's a losing battle to like try to please to only hang out with the people that like your friends don't get along with. Do you remember that?
Yeah, when you're in like high school, you think like, oh, I have to. Like,
I can't be friends.
Barriers.
Totally, yeah. I can't be friends with her because she used to date him, and now my friend dates him or something, you know. And I'd just be like, oh my god, that took so much energy, and like, because you care about your friend, and you're just like, I can't keep track.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Could you tell me about like when like I think you got expelled in your junior year?
Yeah.
What could you tell me like about what that was like and what your feelings were at the time?
So I was attending a pretty strict high school, and so they just didn't have like they had a 0 drug and alcohol policy, and I got caught smoking pot, so they kicked me out.
And now it's legal in California.
And now it's legal. Yeah, I mean the whole thing was bullshit, but I mean I guess you know. Drugs are, you know, I use them these days as like a celebration, whether the drug is alcohol, because alcohol is a drug, and it's like after a long day of work or like a really heavy show, like having a drink to celebrate, or if it's like you just like worked a bunch and like you have this nice beautiful sunny day and you want to meditate, and sometimes smoking a little weed like helps me fall into meditation, or just kind of it works for my chemicals to kind of like, because I'm always thinking and like, you know, it's nice, and I do believe that, you know, you need to have like a little bit more life experience to know how to use these beautiful enlightenments and not abuse them. And I was definitely just like a teenage angst, kind of like escaping, you know, like get high, like smoke weed, go to class, like, so yeah, I understand it. It was a nice kick in the tush, but it was just like, I immediately was like, yeah, I clearly like, the second school that I went to was just like way more chill, and that was, I'm really fortunate for that experience, just because I met like my, some really close friends. I had some good friends at my first high school, but it was like a nice, it's just nice. Yeah.
Are you still in touch with any of those people today?
I'm in touch with all my friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But are you not?
No, I mean, like, she's my friend since like kindergarten.
Yeah.
And same thing from high school, but.
Totally. I think, and also like social media makes it so easy for people to stay in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I was just thinking, because like I know.
I go back for baby shower. I mean, it's like, yeah, totally. As we're like embarking on like, you know, the next phase of life. I've got some friends getting married, having kids.
Like your sister? Yeah.
Like my sister. Yeah, it's so nice to be able to like, that's like a way that I love social media, because I can be like, oh my God, he is so big. It's so crazy. Because it sucks being away, you know, in that regard.
Are most of your friends and like family still in like East Coast, Baltimore-ish area, or have any of them moved around?
My family all lives in Maryland, but I have friends everywhere.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You were talking about drugs a bit earlier. Could you tell me like about some of like the most enlightening trips you've had?
The first time I did mushrooms, I was 15, and it was very mild. And I didn't do them again until I was about 21, and then they didn't work. And then I did them again when I was 26, when I moved out here 4 years ago. I mean, they're all enlightening. I don't have like far-fetched stories like most people. I don't take the amount to like really trip, because I don't need that. It's not for me. But I do enjoy, let me think. Yeah, I didn't start doing them really until I was 26, about 4 years ago. And I know some people in California who grow their own. And so that feels really nice, and like a safety net to know exactly where they come from. And my 29th birthday, my partner and I and a bunch of my friends went to Joshua Tree. You know, so cliche. And, you know, had like a 2-day just like phones off. And that was really nice to just be around a bunch of friends and be around nature and pretty typical. Like, you know, you are just this, Joshua Tree has this effect on me, and I feel like most people, because it just has this energy, and it's not like anything that's on the East Coast. So when I fell in love with Joshua Tree immediately. First time I went was my 27th birthday, 2 years before that, and I feel like when you're in Joshua Tree and the air is so clean and the sky is so clear and the stars are so bright, you can't help but just wash away, you know, your worries, like just in an instant, and you have control of that. You just push them away because you just know that you're just so small. You're just like one little stinker.
Especially when you're in the desert and there's like nothing around you and you're just realizing that everything you think about is not that important. Yeah, and everyone's feeling the same way too.
Yeah.
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 So you recently moved out here, like 2015. What was like that transition like to go from Maryland to here?
It was wild. I had a life in Maryland that I did not hate. So it was like, you know, bittersweet to leave. And this is the first time I had worked solidly for 11 years. And so it was the first time that I was like taking time off. I worked like 15 to 26. And from 19 to 26, I was doing hair 5 to 6 days a week and had my wedding business on the side. And that was, it's just like saying farewell to clients was like painful. As any person who loves their hairstylist or hairstylist knows, it's like, it's a friendship that you curate naturally. And you're not just telling like your boss, hey, I'm gonna be moving. You're telling 300 people. Yeah. One at a time. So that was like heartbreaking. But it was a battle to like get out here, you know, but it was also so rewarding once I got out here and I was like, oh yeah, my boss was right. My boss I worked at a place called Ooh La La in historic Ellicott City for almost 5 years. It's like really where I formed my forming years as a hairstylist. And my boss, Sheila Lau, an owner and sister, mentor, incredible human being, incredible stylist. She was like, she could like see my like, you know, just like draining, like, oh my God, what are people gonna do? And she's just like, people will be okay, they'll figure it out. And it's like, once I got out here, I was just like, oh yeah, I am me and I don't belong to anyone else. And that's like, and that's not what anyone did to me, it's like what I did to myself, you know. I was always supported by like my clients and, you know, they were, but it was tough to get out here.
That's awesome though that they were really supportive of you, like
for the most part. I mean, days where you don't have you don't have like the strength to just even hear someone be like, really? No. You're gonna sing? I didn't know you even sang. Like that was so common because I wasn't singing or performing. Yeah. I would like do someone's hair for like 5 years and they'd be like, my daughter showed me this video of you on YouTube. I had no idea you sang. And I was like, yeah. It's just like something I kept.
Was that like, because obviously...
And then that was bananas. Like once I came out here, that transition, like getting on a stage and singing, I was like, ugh. Yeah. But it always was fun.
Which is my next question. Me and Megan, we saw you live like this one time. And I know when I was reading that you were like performing a show every week. Like what was that like? I feel like that's just like a crazy, like intense work ethic.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I like working. So it was fun. I mean, like, it was like kind of what I needed to do and what I wanted to do. So it was great. It was really fun. I miss it. I miss playing more because it's a cathartic activity for me. So sometimes I get like a little crunchy, not getting like what you need to like have a happy soul. And always just do it. Just do it. Makes it's like awesome having a full team, and having a booking agent is like one of the hardest. They're all hard things to find. Everyone's like, a label is the hardest thing to find, publicist, the right manager, they're all hard to find because there's so many different ways to do this music thing, and you just have to find people that actually agree with the way that you want to do your thing so that it just, everyone just does. But it's like really hard to be to get signed to a booking agent as a baby band especially. So I'm like very respectful of that. But it's a bummer when, playing live is something that like feeds my soul and my creativity and just feeds my art in general. After I perform, this sounds narcissistic, but I inspire myself.
By
just in general, it's to put it in words would, I'd just be lying. I don't know, it's like it's unexplainable. But after I play, I can write more music. It's just like, which is nice to know that it's like, this is a natural thing that I'm doing,
Yeah, got it.
Which I think it would have to be. No one could like force themselves to be a musician. You'd be a very unhappy person if you
like
didn't
the
want to.
emotion would just not be there at all.
Yeah, I'd be like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. So you've performed, or like you have like a soft spot for like the Echo, right?
I have a soft spot for a lot of venues.
Can you tell me like about some of the venues that are like really close to your heart?
The Echo, Harvard and Stone, and for different reasons, but mainly that they were a part of my journey.
When you moved here,
This whole time, like even going to shows there, and like the teams that are there, like the doormen, the liaisons, the bookers, the bartenders, they become family.
Especially when you see them all the time,
Yeah, or even just like they were there for something that was like pivotal for you. And so then even if you don't go, even if I don't like, I've got like, reclusive moments where I'm just like working on my music. And so like, but the relationship doesn't skip a beat. Like I'll recluse for like 3 months and go out to like a million shows, and then I'm like, what's up?
I'm back, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, how you been? Like, I've been good.
Yeah.
How you been? Or like you go on tour, you're gone for a while. I also love Valita Carroll. She's a KCRW DJ, and she puts on an incredible, moderately unplugged acoustic show every single Wednesday night at the Hollywood Standard.
I love the Standard, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
She's been doing that for 8 years.
Good for her.
Yeah, and it's always, the ones that I've played are always just so much fun. I always meet a lot of people. She does like lots of collaborative shows, where she'll do like a Woodstock night, and I did one, Leonard Cohen night, and and then also just going to them. She always has somebody who's like on my list to see. I swear, I'm like, you have the password to my like
just reading your mind.
Yeah. No, but she just knows. It's so good. And I've seen like some of my favorite artists in my favorite way, which is unplugged and raw.
Yeah.
In that setting, I love that. It's my favorite way to see people.
Because it feels genuine, and you're not just like seeing out like perfected.
Well, you know what? I take that back. I like seeing artists in all ways, but that does something to me. That always like triggers like way more inspiration. I get so inspired from seeing live music, and but I totally like. I just visited my partner, and she's on tour, and she was doing it's festival season, and so I was just like, we got to see so many people perform, and it was just like, I also love those grandiose performances where it's like dancers and this and that. Like Rosalia just like blew my mind. I saw her at I forget, we were like in Germany or Belgium, I forget what. It was on a tour, kind of goes together. But yeah, like I love that too. And a lot of being an artist, you know, so much goes into that. It's just like, you have to be able to appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also registered to vote in 2018, was it? What like inspired you to do that then?
The current political climate and having conversations with some people in my community who follow closely a lot of what's going on, and they were kind of they create this Eduardo, my guitarist, and one of my good friends, Tess, who does a lot of like filming. She comes on tour with us and is very much so part of my art. The two of them are they can comprehend what is going on a level that I feel very like daunted when I'm like reading about everything that's going on, this law and that law and this law, and it's very, I feel like I'm kind of drowning, and like I just kind of like have always been like they're all evil, like it's all evil, all politicians are evil, but because there actually is evil running the country right now, opening up the conversation with friends like that who also create the safe space to be like, it takes a long time to understand what's going on, and like, let me help you understand. Like, I have so many questions, and then the long rides on tour will just like, go back and forth and talk about what's going on in the world, and I was just like, cool.
And then also on this like note, you've like posted also about like just like waste in general, so like produce and then like fashion. What kind of like cultivated that interest for being or like saving?
Yeah, I have always been that way. I don't know, I just kind of, it's like, I remember when I was like 15 and I really found out, noticed recycling, and that's when it started to become more of like a household thing in the States, I feel. Like in the 2000s, there's starting to keep recycling bins. My stepmom's really cool. My grandmother's really cool, started recycling and composting in the 60s and the 70s. Like they just knew, and my stepmom, who was born in the 60s, she just did it her whole life. And I remember in the 90s just driving like to Ocean City, which is like the Maryland beach to go to, like the main one, and driving across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, and like when you pay the toll, they'd give like little like pamphlets about recycling and preserving the bay because it's so polluted. I think the best thing that happened to Top 40 Radio is that thrift store song, because it's a trend right now, which is great. Everyone wants to thrift and buy something from a secondhand store and a vintage store because it's what's cool, but thank goodness that's a trend.
I know, like we've been talking about like your past and like your present right now. So what are some like goals you have for the future, like both in life and music?
We are touring most of October, November, and a little bit of December. Before that, we are releasing our 6th and 7th single that we released this year, coming up. Wise Gal's gonna be out on August 9th, and then a song called Super Bullshit's coming out around my birthday. I haven't decided yet. And both of those will have music videos. I have a side project with Chris Hess of Swim called Aging Actress. We have some big shows coming up in LA, and then Ruby Getting a Lot of Love, which has been so cool. And I'm learning how to harmonize.
Oh, yay.
Very quicker, like thinking of harmonies has been, I'm doing it to grow as a songwriter, and just because Chris is like doing it to grow in all ways, not just as a songwriter, but because I'm just so turned on by Chris's writing because he's a fucking genius. I'm taking off from doing hair for 2 months, which is something I haven't done since I moved out here. So I'm just focusing my music, which is great because a lot of energy, creative energy and communication goes into that job. So I'm excited to put everything I have into music. So Eddie and I are going to be writing and recording. This is all, A lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
But it's great. It's like, you know, just the usual.
Stimulating work, yeah.
The usual heavy workload of a musician. What we want and have to do.
Yeah. Awesome.